It's a good view out here. But you know what's a better view? A new bike. Well, g'day guys, and thanks for joining back in. As you can see, new bikes arrived. Yeah, Tenere 700. Did you guess it? Don't know. Let me know. What were you thinking? I would had a few comments there talking about lighter bikes, CRF 300L or the rally version, something lighter. But no, I went to the Tenere 700. So I just thought I'd do a quick rundown of kind of the thought process that I went through in my decision for my upgrade from my CB500X to this bike. So in general, had a blast on the CB500X. It was a great bike. Second bike that I've had. First one before that was a Himalayan. And I just found that, I just started to get to the point in some of the trips where maybe I was just pushing the limit a little bit with the 500. But not so bad that I was stuck or I had to turn around, the other guys could keep going. It was never like that. It was just, sometimes a little bit more comfortable for cruising a big longer distance or passing cars or off-road. It's probably more off-road situations that it failed a little bit in what I was doing. But for me also it's just a challenge of a next bike, challenge to push my skill limits, to learn something new, and also I suppose just that desire to ride a bigger bike, have a bigger bike, ride a bigger bike, something that's not the LAMS approved or that restricted bike, and just to experience something new. I was thinking about looking at the BMW F800 series, but this just, I love the look of these bikes, always have, so why not, right? Now, the other thing I thought I'd just go through as well is a small comparison, just small, quick comparison of the CB500X and the Tenere, just in those main parameters, right? So it's not a full in-depth review, but it's just, I suppose, the things that I looked at, and I just found a little interesting in doing my research, right? So for starters, I'll start down low, right? So wheels, tyres, rims. The Honda has cast steel or cast aluminium rims. 19-inch front, 17 rear, where the Tenere's got spoke rims, 21-inch, 18 rear. And I never had an issue with the CB500X. I know a few guys dinted their rims, and you would see that on their Facebook groups and different things. But my question always is to them is what pressures did they have? And most of the time, they would say that they lowered their pressures because they were off-road or something like that. Or they did actually did the rim because they hit a massive pothole, which I think that if we did that, even with a spoke rim, that damage would happen anyway. But mainly, it was pressures. For me, I never dropped the pressures. I never had a need to, or got into a situation where I had to. So, look, I'm not an expert, but maybe pressures was that fact. But other than that, the rims were fantastic. I didn't have an issue with that. The tyres that I had, interesting note, the tyres I had on the CB were the Midas EO7s, the EO7 Plus. They were brilliant. Had them on my Himalayan as well, and they were great. I've great mileage, great grip on the bitumen and the dirt, even wet bitumen, in the rain. I couldn't fault them. They were really good. On this bike at the moment, Scorpion Rally at the front, more of aggressive tyre on the Tenere here, and I actually upgraded the rear because it needed it, and it's now got Midas EO7 on the rear, and done a little trick on that. You'll see that in a little bit in the video sometime. And it was great for just my first experience off road. I really enjoyed it. So when the Pirelli goes at the front, I'll maybe go or look at the Midas tyres. Probably not the EO7 because I don't think it's aggressive enough for this bike. But I believe it's the EO9 or the EO10 is a more aggressive style front. And so I might look at that and do a review on that when that happens. The next part is suspension, right? Totally different suspension. This suspension's designed for off-roading. You see in the videos, it's a bit of a no-brainer. The 500X, I did do a suspension upgrade with the YSS system, and that made a great improvement. Really helped with its handling and its traction off-road. So recommend it. It was great. You got the money, you want to do that, you can do that. I mean, I know there's the rally raid upgrades as well, but the YSS for me seems to do the job that it needs to do. The big difference though from the 500X is and the Tenere is the travel. You know, we're talking 200 mil in the 210 mil in the front, 200 in the rear, compared to on the CB we've only got 150 mil in the front and 135 mil in the rear. So pretty much, you know, a decent difference there. But we know why, because, you know, the bikes are ultimately made for different purposes. Seat heights. So seat height was something that I was a little bit concerned with. Now the 500X is about 32 inch, 32.7 inch seat height. That would, I'm assuming that's based off the bike on its own, not with someone sitting on it, because that's obviously going to change depending on how much you weigh. So, you know, I'm a 32 inch inseam, and on the CB500X, easy touchscreen, both feet, flat, easy. The Tenere though has a 34 and a half or something inch seat height, so a little bit taller. Yes, I've noticed a difference. But getting used to it quickly. You just got to think a little bit more initially, and I think as time goes on, it just becomes automatic, right? You build it into the way you ride. You just know that you need to slide your bum, you know, across the seat a little bit more to get your foot down. But been pretty good. I haven't dropped it yet. Talking about obviously height here and the suspension, we've got ground clearance. So the 500 only has 180 mil ground clearance. That is my understanding based on without any bash plates, because it doesn't come with a bash plate. So you add a bash plate in there, it most likely probably reduce it by 10 mil. So only 170 mil clearance. The Tenere is standard with a bash plate, this one here. And so it has about a 238 mil clearance. So big difference there. ABS, that's the other one. The 500X had ABS. Here in Australia, you have to have ABS. The 2022 model that I had on the CB had it. Non-switchable, you couldn't turn it off. Didn't really have an issue with it off-road. Maybe the odd occasion, I remember one incident where Shane was in front of me and he decided to stop on a bit of a corner. I wasn't paying attention and I had to quickly stop, and it didn't stop. I did, but I reckon I would have slowed down quicker if I didn't have that ABS. So Tenere has switchable ABS, which turns it completely off. Now, I haven't had a bike with switchable ABS, so that's going to be a challenge to work on with something with my skills and something to adapt to, and that I'll need to learn. So next one is fuel tank. So the Tenere only has, and it's a common complaint, it is only like, what is it, 15.9 or something, like, you know, 16 litre fuel tank. So you choose fuel. It loves it. Well, maybe it's my my throttle, but for over 4 litres per 100 kilometres at the moment on the Tenere. So not a major issue, still over 300 odd, 350k range, which is pretty good. But the 500X was 3.4 litres per 100 kilometres, and it had a 17.5 litre tank. So 400k is easy, and that's even that was giving it like that. You know, you're pushing the limit on. You know, you're really revving it on the CB. The fuel consumption didn't actually change too much. So that's something that I need to learn. The other thing is obviously the horsepower. So the Tenere's, I think, got around the 70 horsepower. 500X is, well, it's not 500cc, it's 471cc. And the Tenere 700, it's not obviously 700cc, it's 689. So, you know, having that obviously changes the fuel consumption as well. The next biggest thing though, I've had a few comments even on the last video, was weight. You know, going to a bigger bike, being an adventure bike, weight. You know, weight is sometimes we can have this issue. Well, I watched some videos and I've seen some guys with their Tenere going, oh, it's a light bike. But when they weighed it after they put all these, you know, accessories on it, it was the same weight as an Africa Twin, right? You know, it can add a lot of weight. So with my CB500X, photo up here, you'll see that I actually had bash plate. I've got the crash guards, Outback Motor Trek ones, and I have a small luggage rack on the back. But prior to that, I did actually have the Outback Motor Trek Panniers on the back as well. So the stock or wet weight of the CB500X is, what was it? 197 kilos. So adding the accessories on the bike was another 12 kilos. So that's 209 kilos. So maybe the weight was a bit lower, but the CB with those accessories on was 209 kilos. Now, I'm not, you know, talking about the accessories like bark busters, because I have bark busters on the CB, and I've also got them on the Tenere. So, I'm not really going to fuss about that. It's the same thing. At the moment, I don't have crash bars on this, and the stock bash plate underneath here is included in that weight. I believe that 205 kilo weight for the Tenere. So 205 kilos, basically, as it is. Change of the exhaust. You can see it's a high exhaust, so a lighter weight exhaust. And basically really no other modifications on the bike. We're still sitting around that 205 kilos. Now, I am going to put crash guards on here, and I think they're about 5 kilos, so 210 kilos. So literally 210 to 209, like it's the same weight bike. So the pickup, the moving it around is the same as the CB500X. So for me, that's quite surprising when I went through that process and looked at it and went, oh, same weight, more power, disadvantage of the height going up, but I can lower it if I want to, but I'm happy with it. That was a bit of the process, a little bit of summary in comparison to the CB500X. I'm in love with this bike already. I mentioned in, which some of you guys commented on, I mentioned in that last video about the 500X, like, you know, selling it, that I'd walk out and I'd be like, oh, 500X is such a great bike, I don't know if I want to sell it. Well, I think, you know, motorbikes, I think I'm starting to already be that way with this bike. You know, come out and go, oh, I just want to go for a ride. Got to work. So my plans for this bike at the moment is really leave it as it is. It's you know, Curtis, who owned it before, has basically done some the minor modifications to it, which are right. It's minimal, but are right. It's what it needs. My only change that I'm making to it is the crash bars on the side. I don't trust myself, and I just there's a radiator just down here low, which is a common issue potentially that you can hit, and so I'd rather put some protection on that. So I'm just going with the OEM crash bars, and that's it. And other than that, done. It's done. You'll see in some of the footage, I have fitted the Rhinowalk Panniers, which I had on my CB500X. They fit on this. Perfect. Really well, actually. I was quite surprised at how well they fit. So, yeah, so there you have it. It's the Tenere 700 is my next bike of choice. The Rhinowalk Panniers on there. They've come up a treat. They've worked really well so far. She's got a few battle scars and that on her, but you know that's just awesome. She tells a story. Now it's my turn. My turn to tell a story with this bike and for her to take me on some great adventures. So there you have it. T7 is my next bike. So hope you come along for the adventure and see what we get up to. She's already working a treat. Had a bit of a shitty week. Anxiety just building up. Oh man. This is like an anxiety removal pill. I don't know if removal is the word, but do you know what I mean? She's like, this is treatment, right? This is therapy. Look at it. So yeah, anyway, let's keep going.